What's up, everyone? Welcome back to more Reddit stories about entitled people, crazy people, and all that kind of stuff. Hope you're all doing awesome, and as usual, we'll be checking out some more Reddit posts today. So feel free to share your thoughts about today's stories down in the comments, and we're getting right into it. I laughed at my sister's tragedy, and now I'm uninvited to the baby shower I'm planning. And quick explanation on what a tragedy is in the context of OP spelling it like this, for those who might not know. It's from the subreddit r/tragedy, where it's intentionally spelled weird. To quote from the sub itself, tragedy equals a given name that has been deliberately misspelled or completely made up to appear more unique than it actually is. So basically, it's a ridiculous name that parents give their kids that you know they're going to be made fun of for. So on to the post. My sister is due in early January and we're planning her baby shower for early December. She decided she wanted to use my mother's maiden name, Rafferty, as her daughter's name. Not a tragedy itself, and I guess it works as a unique name. But yesterday I texted my sister to get the custom items with my niece's name ordered ASAP, so they arrive in time for the shower. My sister then let me know they're going with an alternative spelling of Rafferty. I texted back, an alternative spelling of our mother's maiden name? My sister wants to spell it Ray Farty. So I sent back a bunch of laughing emojis and she asked, "What's so funny?" I tried to explain that no one will pronounce that as Rafferty, and she'll probably get plenty of the same mispronunciations. She told me I was being ridiculous. I texted back, "My poor niece, little Miss Farty Ray." I was uninvited to the shower and my mom told me today my sister doesn't want me as the godmother anymore. But like, Ray Farty is really bad, isn't it? Someone needs to tell her, right? Update. So we had an intervention on Ray Farty. I know everyone said to send a link to the original post to my sister, to show her that 103% of the population would call her daughter Ray Farty, and that would be the easiest thing to do. But some commenters said some pretty gnarly things about my sister that she doesn't need to read and feel worse about herself. But I wanted to address a few things that came up. First, for those saying I shouldn't bother paying for the baby shower anymore, I had no plans to not continue to pay and help out. Disagreements and fighting aside, I love my sister and want her to go into motherhood filled with love and support, regardless of whether she wants my support or attendance at the event. Second, my sister's husband was made aware of the spelling change of Rafferty to Ray Farty about a month before my original post. He said he didn't think much of it until he saw it written down and immediately saw it as Ray Farty too. He said her emotions had been getting worse throughout the pregnancy and he didn't know how to approach her about going back to the original spelling. He had hoped that once she gave birth, all the hormones would somehow leave her body, she'd come to her senses, and it would be a non-issue. Third, a lot of you were lumping my mom in with my sister and said some pretty horrible things about her too. All my mom knew was from my sister calling her to complain that I laughed at her for, quote, slightly changing the spelling. My mom just assumed it was a minor change like Rafferty, T-I-E at the end, until I told her to grab a pen and paper and I'd spell it out for her. Once she saw it was Ray Farty, she was team save this child. Now, for those of you who told me I didn't have any tact and my reaction was mean, my reaction was because 1, people would call the poor girl Ray Farty her entire life for the sake of my sister being quirky. 2, pregnancy brain aside, surely my sister would realize her child will be called Ray Farty once it's pointed out, have a laugh, change her mind, and this will end up being a funny story to tell at her daughter's future wedding or something. And 3, my sister is a bit of a joker, so I initially thought she was just pulling a prank or joking. But if she was joking, she took the joke really far. She spent $400 on a mural painted on one wall in the nursery. She wanted to debut the finished nursery to everyone at the baby shower, including her husband, who was forbidden to see it beforehand. That had Ray Farty incorporated into it and now needs to be repainted. She also bought herself a birthing gift. Is this even a thing? She'd have my brother-in-law present to her in front of everyone at the hospital. A $900+ gold bracelet with R-A-E-F-A-R-T and Y charms. The baby book also has Ray Farty embroidered on the cover. I contacted my sister's best friend Katie, not her real name, if my sister has told her anything about the spelling change. She found out about Ray Farty after the blow-up with my sister, as my sister wanted to get Katie on her side. Katie, who's a teacher, was equally horrified about the spelling, and told me this is the worst attempt at a creative name she's ever seen. The intervention of sorts, the farty party if you will, included me, my sister, her husband, his mother and father, my mother, and Katie. My sister refused to believe anyone could possibly see Ray Farty as Ray Farty, and that we were just mad that she was taking creative license, and that everyone does that nowadays. My sister said children are not that cruel to bully her daughter for her name, and Katie said plenty of kids are cruel enough and the others would join in so they're not singled out themselves. My sister countered that as long as all the adults are pronouncing it correctly, that it'll be no problem. And Katie told her that not only would the adults not know how to pronounce it to begin with, but that as long as fart is in the name, kids will latch right onto that. I was happy Katie was there because she's shared interesting names her students have had over the past few years, so I knew her opinion on this would probably be the only one to sway her. My sister cried for about 10 minutes and finally agreed to entirely change the name, because even Rafferty was tainted because we had all ruined it for her. We told her to take her time to consider a new name. She told us she still wanted to honor my mother, and she suggested she'd combine my mother's first name with her mother-in-law's name, and created a name on the spot that included a crass term for a lesbian. When my mother pointed that out, she started crying again and accused us of not letting her be a mom, and her husband suggested we leave it for now and we should all go and give her space. It's been radio silence until my sister texted me a couple of hours ago that she and her husband landed on Theodora, and she is absolutely in love with it. She even decided by my unborn niece looks like a Theodora in the ultrasounds. She got those creepy 3D ones done where every baby looks like the same copper potato. I replied that was lovely and I'm so happy she's happy. It's not my taste, but at least it's not Theodoru or some crap like that. So there you go. My niece has been saved from being called Ray Farty. I am invited to the baby shower again, and I know this is just a little blip with my relationship to my sister and we'll be fine. But Katie will be taking over as godmother, which is fine by me. I can always be godmother to their next child, who will probably be named something like Tara Masu. Thank you all for seeing the same thing I did and letting me know stopping Ray Farty from coming into existence was the right thing to do. My friend brought in an unwanted house guest while I was on vacation. Now she doesn't want to leave. I am the owner of a 2-story house. I had gone to Hawaii last week for a 1-week vacation with my wife. No one was at home and it wasn't feasible for us to take our dogs with us. So I gave my house keys to a good friend of mine and asked him to take care of my 2 dogs. This would involve feeding them, changing waters, and taking them on a 1-hour walk daily. So his girlfriend was in town and she had no place to stay. He lives in a 1-bedroom condo with 2 other roommates. So he messaged me and asked me if I would allow his girlfriend to stay at my home for just 1 night. I agreed, as it was just a matter of 1 night. Now yesterday I came back and found out his girlfriend has made a dwelling in the upper floor of my house. She has been staying here for 4 days. I asked her to leave immediately, but she and my friend are insisting to let her stay 1 more week because she is in search of a job in LA, California. I called the police. They came and said this would be a civil matter and I have to go through an eviction process. So I'm here with an unwanted stranger in my upper floor, an asshole friend who broke a promise, and a pissed off wife. What to do, guys? Can I change the locks and throw her stuff out when she's away? Cut the electricity to the upper floor? Update. Good morning, guys. This is an uplifting update. So after reading all of the advice here and discussing this matter with my cousin, we made a nasty plan. Yesterday night, that squatter girl went out to grab some dinner with her boyfriend. Me and my cousin carefully packed all of her stuff in 3 bags, left it on our front porch, and locked ourselves inside the house. We also looked over her stuff from the window to make sure no one stole it. Our wait was over 2 hours when the girl returned. She figured it out and started pounding at our door, yelling loudly to open the door. You know, typical squatter drama. We told her to go F off and we won't open the door. So finally, after 30 minutes of constant drama, she dared to call the cops. I was nervous how it would turn out. Cops arrived. Fortunately, these were different ones than the previous night. They first listened to her side. Then they came to me. I explicitly told them that I was the sole owner of the house and never allowed the girl to stay more than 1 night. She was not only trespassing, but also living in my house illegally without my permission. She kept saying I had given her permission to stay there indefinitely and was now kicking her out. Officer asked if she had any proof of that. She claimed she had some message which accidentally got deleted. Now the best part. The officer then asked her for an ID. She gave an ID. The officer verified it over radio. Suddenly, they told him she's had a failure to appear warrant for months on an old shoplifting case. The stupid lady was arrested immediately. Her stuff was sent to a friend's house. The officer said that I don't need to worry and they'll take care of her. I do not require any further action. All's well that ends well. Boss told me I had to clock out any time I left the till, so I did, every single time. I used to work retail for a manager who thought customer service meant chaining me to the register. One day he tells me I've been leaving the till too often. By too often, he meant grabbing change from the safe, getting a roll of bags, even walking 5 feet to throw out trash. His new rule: if you step away from the register even for a second, you must clock out. Alright then, next shift I took him literally. At 9:10 a.m., a customer drops a jar that smashes near the counter. I clock out, grab the paper towels, clean it, clock back in at 9:16. 9:40, receipt printer jams. Clock out, walk 3 feet to maintenance, get the roll, clock back in at 9:47. 10:05, customer wants coins for the parking meter. Clock out, walk to the safe, get change, clock back in at 10:13. 10:42, I need to grab a bag of quarters for the till. Clock out, 20 steps to the office, clock back in at 10:50. 11:15, someone asks me to check if we have larger bags. Clock out, grab them literally from the shelf behind me, clock back in at 11:18. By the end of the day, my time card showed I'd left work 13 times. It added up to nearly 2 hours of unpaid breaks, all for basic stuff I was supposed to do. Payroll flagged it. HR called me in and I showed them the email from my boss, laying out the rule in black and white. Next thing I know, he's the one being chewed out. The rule vanished overnight, and magically we were trusted to use common sense again. Anyway, that's going to be all for today, guys. Thank you for watching, I appreciate it. Be sure to drop a like if you enjoyed and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more Reddit content like this. Take care, friends, and I'll see you next time.